So you beautiful people, it's Trakky and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm going to go through the 5 mistakes that you keep making that stop you winning in Call of Duty Warzone. So guys, the intention of today's video is to highlight the 5 mistakes that you're probably making in Warzone, which are either stopping you from winning your first Battle Royale or it's stopping you from winning more consistently in Warzone. So we're going to go through these tips as if we was playing the game, and in the background is going to be me with a over 10 kill win in solos, just to kind of demonstrate some of the things that I'm suggesting to you guys that you are doing as mistakes. And number 1 is not having a plan at the drop. So what do I mean by not having a plan? Well, most people get caught up in the lobby. It's a chance for you to warm up, as it says. But this is the perfect opportunity to get the information and data you need to have the advantage over most people on the drop. The drop is the most terrifying part of a battle royale, in my personal opinion. It's the place where most people are on a level playing field, and it's where things go wrong very quickly. The first thing you need to do, instead of shooting everyone in the lobby, is pay attention to the flight of the plane. You want to know its entry point and you want to know its exit point. Then you want to pay close attention to the circle when it finally comes up. It's usually the last 10 seconds of the warm-up. This gives you a chance to choose your location, which is going to be our second point, which is very important. You want to do your best to land outside the circle where possible, and there's a reason for this. I'm going to do this in a separate video because it's quite a detailed and complex thing to do, but basically most people are so scared of the storm, and I've played several battle royale games from Fortnite to H1Z1 to PUBG to Apex Legends. People are terrified of getting caught in the storm, so most people's instinct is to land inside the circle. So you should be able to loot freely without having too much worry if you land just outside the circle, but you need to be aware of the storm. So number 2 is location and looting. We're going to tie those two together because as soon as you choose your location, when you land, you need to loot somewhere just outside the storm, but we need to balance this right here. You don't want to go to an area which is too highly populated like downtown at the start of the game, because it's the easiest way for you to run into people and get killed off the rip. And this is not what we're trying to do here. We are trying to win this battle royale. You also don't want to go on the other side of the coin and land in an area where there's just one shed in the woods and there's just one pistol that you've already got, which is now silenced. It's not practical for you winning a battle royale game. You want to get the perfect balance. Now, my tendency is to land in areas as you've seen me land at the start of the game. I know this particular area of the map very well. How did I find it? I found it by getting pushed by the storm. So be very alert when you're getting pushed and where you're navigating the map. Places where you could actually land, touch your touchpad, bring up your map and highlight where it is on the map. Oh, that's in C3. I think I'll land there next time. That's very, very important for you to do, but you want to land somewhere which has got at least 3 buildings, in my opinion, and you want one of those buildings to at least be a double-decked house. How can you know this? As I've said, do your research when you do land. Pay attention to your surroundings, and what you'll find if you drop in an area like this, you'll find on average 4 to 5 boxes, which should be plenty of boxes for you to get enough plates, a decent AR, for you to start being able to take on other people who are going to be at the same disadvantage as you at the start of the game. But the other thing is you need to be accumulating as much money as possible. So you want to plan when you've landed also for your location. As again, we go back to point 1, not having a plan is the worst thing you can do in this game. When you've chose your location, you need to make sure what is your next move. It's almost like you're playing snooker. So you know you're going to land at these particular houses, loot there, but you need to also think, well, where was you going next? And that's how I work out the first portion of my game. Where am I landing? And where am I moving to next? And then this is the process that you need to take into consideration things like buy stations. If you do accumulate enough money, are you going in the right direction for a buy station? Or are you going to have to run back on yourself because you've not really planned the right way? Try and incorporate a buy station into your movement This will thoroughly improve your chances of winning. The more times you're running about headless and thinking about things, the less time you're thinking about who's actually around you and who's actually stalking you. Now we've got enough money for our loadouts, and this is the second most important part of your game after landing. You have to acquire a loadout as soon as you possibly can. And this will totally change your chances, because if you can get your loadout before others around you, it's irrefutable. You're going to be at a distinct advantage over other people, because you're going to have attachments on your gun. You're more likely to win the gunfight and so forth. And when people are popping UAVs, you better believe you need the right perks. So let's talk a little bit about the requirements that you should have in your loadout. The minimum requirements I'm going to give you for a loadout is you need to have a suppressor on your weapon to keep you off the map at all times when you are in gunfights. You definitely need cold-blooded, but most importantly, you need ghost. I'd say if you're going for W's, there should be no flexibility on this particular perk. And we're going to talk about loadouts just at the end of the video as a bonus tip. Now, I would advise also having a heartbeat sensor, just so anyone who hasn't got ghost on and you don't have a UAV is going to show up on that heartbeat sensor. And again, you're going to have the slight advantage over them because you know their position and whereabouts. And if they've got a heartbeat sensor, they don't know where you are, because you've got the right perks on to stop this sensing you. So cold-blooded, ghost, for your tier 3, I would choose whatever you choose. Another thing that I consider part of your loadout, and we're talking about the accumulation of money here, is constantly ensuring that you have a UAV where possible. But the first purchase that you need to make, because it makes the difference between you losing and winning a game, as you will see in the footage, is the self-revive kit. Once you've brought a self-revive kit, you can breathe a sigh of relief, but then you need to constantly make a choice as to when you're accumulating the money and you've got it, what buy station can you go to ensure that you can get yourself a UAV. Number 4, awareness and respect for the storm. The storm kills so many people in battle royale games, and I think the storm in Call of Duty Warzone is the most aggressive gas I've come across in my battle royale experiences. It is relentless. It's very hard to get out of it once you're caught by it. So while you're going about your day-to-day business within the game, trying to, ascertain whether you're going to go this way or that way, you need to make sure that your decisions are dictated by where the storm is and how much of an effect it's going to have on you. It's all good seeing somebody and starting to shoot at them, but if you go into that gunfight, are you going to get yourself caught in the storm? Is it better for you to make the decision to avoid that person until you're in a place which is much safer from any damage from the storm? You also want to use the storm to your advantage. Now, the way I play, and I'm going to do an extensive video to explain this, but I'll try and explain it quickly in layman's terms, is you want to hug the storm, but you don't want to be running in a direct line. You either want to be going in a linear line to the right or a linear line to the left, but you have to pay attention to what's around you. Be aware in terms of how does the land lie. If I go to the right hand side and I do a linear line into the actual zone, am I going to get caught by a mountain where I can't get up? Am I going to get caught in buildings? Is there an out of bounds marker? You need to think about all these things before you make the moves. Again, all this is down to good planning. My final tip for the mistakes that people are making is taking unnecessary gunfights or shooting too early. This is a massive, massive way to, 1, get yourself killed, but 2, bring unnecessary attention to yourself. It's all good sniping, but sometimes a fight lasts too long in this game and you need to make that decision. Am I going to continue fighting this person, or am I going to move into a better position, or just scratch this fight? They can take this one for now. I'll catch them later. It's the easiest way to get yourself killed. It's a Call of Duty mentality, and I know a lot of us are going to struggle with this particular one here, because there's nothing like thirsting. There's nothing like thirsting. You down somebody, you desperately want the kill, but you're not paying attention. There's other people who are involved in this fight. You go for the first, try and kill that person that you've already downed. Boom, you've had your head taken off. Now, one of the most important times not to do this is at the start of the game, where you're more likely than ever to bump into other people. Once somebody's down at the start of the game, leave them alone. Reevaluate what's going on around you. It's very easy to get caught up in a situation that's unnecessary. To start a game, nobody is going to have a self-res, so you can bet your bottom dollar, once you've downed that person, you can focus on the next person if there is anyone around you. In terms of when I say shooting too early, you want to guarantee that you're going to kill that person. So if it takes you having to get another 10 meters closer to that person and stalk them for another 30 seconds, you want to do that, because if you have somebody who is more mechanically gifted than you at Call of Duty, you are done. So you want to ask yourself that question: am I going to win this gunfight? And if you can say yes with confidence, go for it. But there are often times, as I've stated, where we don't need to take these fights, even if they're easier. Is it going to put you in a bad situation taking that fight in terms of what the storm's doing behind you? More than likely, then we don't need to take it. Is it going to put me in a bad situation because you know there's more than one person around and you're going to get highlighted on the map? We don't need to take this fight then. We need to reposition. And that's the main thing you can do here. If you feel that you can get in a better position to kill that person, take that choice. Don't just shoot off the whim hoping that you get the kill, because it's something that we're all guilty of. We're on a bit of a tear. We've had very good fights, but a 50-50 gunfight is a 50-50 gunfight, and that's what it will always remain. You will always have an opportunity to lose it, and that's what we don't want to do. Now, if you follow these particular steps here, then you're guaranteed to start winning games or winning more games of Call of Duty. A bonus tip here for your loadout: if you find that in the latter part of the game you have ended up going to the gulag, you got caught out, things just didn't go your way, because they don't always go your way in a battle royale game. Sometimes the RNG and luck is just totally against you. You win your gulag. One piece of advice I'm going to give you here: if this is late game and you can see a loadout drop, then you need to have a loadout selected that has fully loaded on, because there's nothing worse than being able to get back into the game, land on a loadout drop, and you've only got 60 in your magazine. So make sure that you have one class setup, one loadout, where you have fully loaded, the fully loaded perk selected for your weapon of choice, preferably a SMG or an AR. And this will come fully loaded, fully stocked. So once you've grabbed that and you're lucky enough not to get sniped in the process, then you have all the ammo you need to try and reschedule the fight and get back to trying to eliminate these mistakes and get in that W. Guys, there are many buttons you can hit, but a like and subscribe button, I hope they tickle your fancy. And as always, guys, don't forget to stay on the right track. Peace.